What's going on, everybody? Mr. Ladd over here. I wanted to do something a little bit different today. So I posted a video, my most recent video. I mentioned how I was heading up to the high school that I did work at. I am a drumline instructor, and I said they had a competition last week. Well, their competition got rained out, so the competition got pushed back to today. So early this morning, I took a drive from Fort Lauderdale up to West Palm Beach, Florida, where my students participated in their MPA, or we call it FBA over here, the Florida Bandmasters Association. The marching band went on the field for evaluation and was evaluated, scored, and now we already had previously scheduled to go to Orlando today, and now so last week's competition was pushed back to this week, so we did that. Now I'm driving from West Palm Beach I'm driving from West Palm Beach up to Orlando, and we're going to competition number 2 for the day. So it is a long, hectic day, but I wanted to take advantage of the driving time. I wanted to take advantage of the moment. Forgive me, my vehicle's a mess. I took some stuff out and it's just a mess right now, but you work with what you got, right? When I get the big bucks, I'll go ahead and I'll have my Rolls Royce and I'll be driving the competitions up in that. Yeah, they'll definitely respect me for that, right? Not saying anything against people with nice cars. I'm all for being successful. I'm all for having nice vehicles, nice stuff. I'm just saying, when you're a teacher and you got that, people begin to second guess you a little bit. But I'm for teachers. I support them. I think they need to be paid more. But let's get into what I wanted to talk about today. You probably already saw it from the title of the video. I wanted to take advantage of this moment, and I wanted to talk about a horror story that I had in my detailing business. Now, there are tons of, for anybody who is in the detailing industry or really any type of service industry, there is so many opportunities or moments where you can have what you would call a horror story. Sorry, I'm just readjusting here. And I wanted to talk about one of mine. So I've been in the detailing game for about 8 years. Throughout the 8 years, I worked for different companies. I started off going to different car dealerships, and I would go ahead and I was a vendor, and I would go to the car lots. I would walk the lot. I would write up cars that needed like hubcap restoration or blackouts. That's what we would call them, but really it's just trim restoration, windshield chip repairs, vinyl stripe removal and or installation, graphic kits, paint touch-ups, all that type of stuff. I started off in that market, not really detailing cars, but working with specific details of the vehicle. From there, I went off and I started going into full-time detailing on my own. But when I jumped the gun, I didn't have enough experience with clients or how to get clients. So that was a short-lived journey. But from there, it went off to me working for a company, working in distribution. I would sell the products to the detailers. Did that for about a year and a half, leading me up to where I am today. I have been a full-time business owner, detailer, now on my own officially for a year. I want to say a year and a half, about a year and 7 months, and I cannot complain. It's been amazing. I love the journey, and I'm just so thankful for the journey and the process. But within that, I've had some run-ins with clients, and I wanted to talk about one today. A detailing, not actual detailing doing the work, but a client that was, it was just one of those experiences that you wish never happened, but it was a big eye-opener. So about 3 to 4 months into detailing on my own, so I'm going to say maybe about a year and a couple months ago, I got introduced to a client. I will not name the name of the client. Of course, I want to keep respectful. The objective is to not talk about an individual, but to mention a scenario that happened or a situation that happened. And so we got connected over social media. He saw my page, liked the work. And so I went ahead and, we got on a basis where I would go to his house and I would take care of the client. I had nice cars, very successful man. He did very well for himself. And he had a decent amount of disposable income. Well, this client also is one of the individuals who like to live the fast life. And so what I mean by living the fast life in this scenario specifically, scheduling consistency was not there. So instead of saying, I would go to the individual's house once a week to detail his vehicle, maybe some other vehicles, whether friends or family that might be in town, significant others, stuff like that. He would pay for it and he had no problem with it. And, in that regard, he was an amazing client. He was a client that many people wish they had more of. And so this client, basically, I'm going to try to not give so many details, but at the same time, I do want to set the stage up appropriately. So myself, I am, and we can talk about more about this in other videos if you're interested in it. I am a minister in my church. The church I go to, I'm in ministry. I have a ministerial license in our organization. Does that build any credit to me? No, that simply means nothing. That's just me having a card and I pay for the card. You know what I mean? Me personally, I find extreme benefit from it because now I am affiliated with the organization, which is a fellowship of ministers, and I have the organizational support backing if anything were to happen where my character would be in question. I do have the backup of the organization, but that means nothing to you. That's a benefit to me, but to the people who I talk to or whatever, YouTube or any church I go to, that really doesn't mean much. Now, okay, why am I saying that? So when I got introduced to this client, we were talking and he had been mentioning about a spiritual journey that he was going down, and I mentioned my walk, my faith, what I do outside of my business. He obviously was aware of my business. That's why I was at his house in the first place. But when I mentioned that and that I would like to help him, he was very thankful. He was very open to allowing me to be a help in whatever way I could be to him. So, we would talk. I would go to his house every single week and detail his cars. But then we also had Bible study scheduled. And so we would do that. Sometimes it didn't work out just because the day that we had picked was a very inconvenient day because I have a lot of meetings that go on that day, but it seemed to be the best day for him. And so that just is what we try to do. If it didn't work one week, we would just push to the next week and we would truck along and we would meet we've met and it was great. We'd have study. There's a lot of great times that we had together. So okay, there's the backup. So I am now going to this guy's house once a week, taking care of him. He's telling me some personal information about his life, his upbringing, his background. He mentioned how he came from a hard life and he's a fighter, and so he's doing whatever it takes to make sure he doesn't go back to having a hard life so he can take care of others and be a financial benefit to his soon-to-be children, family, friends, all that. He was a very, very hard worker. And so what happened is I multiple times I tried to say, hey man, let's get you on a weekly, every week you can count on me being here, Monday morning, Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday midnight, whatever time works for you, but let's set in stone a specific time. and so that wasn't something he was interested in. So some time goes by. I had my generator. It broke down on me, and I was not able to take care of a couple clients, but he still allowed me to go to his house and work on his cars. Very thankful for that. It's just the life of a detailer. The generator was down for like a week and a half. All that. It was a very, very quick thing, but I did miss a couple clients from that. Well, I pushed back a couple clients for that, and he was still allowing me to work there. I mean, thank you. I'm very thankful for that. Most clients, though, are okay with that, using their electricity and their water. It's not a big deal. I'm making a statement about that for a specific reason, though. You'll see why later on in the video. And so time goes on. We're doing that. I'm taking care of his cars. Kind of got an issue with the generator, but it all worked out. This and that. Yada, 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 yada. Okay, fast forward some months. About the time, if you don't remember, Bruce, my Pontiac Aztec. So that was the vehicle that I had before this one. Now, my original detailing vehicle was my Toyota Corolla, where I stuck an inverter generator in the trunk with my supplies, and I had a 50-gallon water tank in the back seat, where when I would go to a client's house, I would pop open one door, and I would have the hose coming out of that door cracked open, and I would managed to get the water from there. It was definitely not the most ideal situation, but you make it work, and so it worked out great. Wasn't an issue at all. But my wife, we went ahead and we sold her car, and then a brother from my church was selling his Pontiac Aztec, Bruce, which I ended up buying. Then I gave my wife the Corolla. And so I took on the Pontiac. Well, when I first got the Pontiac, the day I brought it home, I tell you what, it broke down on me. Everything was fine. The test drive was good. I took it to the mechanic. He says, not a problem. There's just a little ticking in the engine. Not too concerned about it, but it can be an issue depending on how long that tick has been there. It can go out at any moment and cause issues, but it could also hold up for, thousands and thousands of miles. So I felt good with it. I jumped the gun, got the Pontiac. Long story short, the day I bring it home, it was fine. But the next day when I went to go drive it, I'm having issues. Apparently a valve went out, and that ticking actually amounted out to something. And my mechanic was like, that's the thing I was talking about. I couldn't predict it. But 3 days later, we got it fixed. Everything was taken care of. Here we go. So Monday, the car goes into the shop. When I didn't get the car out till Wednesday evening. Okay? That Wednesday morning, my client, the one that I'm talking about, texts me and says, "Hey man, can we get a detail scheduled this week?" I said, "Bro, the situation is this. I'm booked solid, and I've had to push back my clients from the beginning of the week to the end of the week, and I'm literally booked solid. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday is literally sun up to sundown. There's no way that I can get this done, but I can get you in on Monday morning." He was not happy with that. Now, I wish I could show you the text message conversation. I'm going to explain it, and I wish I can actually show you the text messages, but it's a little tough to do here with working on the phone here, and I don't have the appropriate software for that. But here's what happened. So I mentioned I'm so sorry. Please, let's get you in on Monday morning. My clients aren't able to reschedule. I already pushed them back this much. I can't do it. He responds with, "Don't worry about it. I can wash my car myself. Just tell me what I need to get." It was a little passive aggressive. It came off that, "Just tell me what I need to get," which in response, I said, "Okay, here, let me send you the things that you can locally pick up that I would trust on your vehicle." And as I am texting the list of things that he would need to get, he messages me again and says, "Actually, you know what? I gotta be honest, I'm really, really upset that you're not willing to put me in. You can come early in the morning. You can come at 8 in the morning. He goes, but you can make it work somehow, but no, I guess you're just too lazy to come out. And so he went from passive aggressive to full-blown shots fired. And I'm like, whoa, wait a second, bro. I told you I'm not able to, because I've already pushed back my clients already once. I can't push them back again, let alone we have mentioned before about getting you set up on a weekly specific date schedule, and you weren't willing to do that. And I said, I'll be honest, man, I really appreciate your business. I appreciate the patronage, but sometimes things come up, especially when you do not have a set time. And he wasn't willing to go with that. And then that's when the profanity starts coming along. Oh, you're so lazy. Oh, I can't get a detailer to come out. Everyone's so lazy. Yeah, they always do good at first, but they never know how to take care of their VIP clientele. And he said the phrase, I guess you can't fix stupid. And so my response to him was, no worries, I completely understand. To which I then sent him two very, very close friends of mine who are local detailers. I sent him their pages and said, look, I guess this isn't just going to work out for us. Here are two detailers that I trust highly. They do very quality work and they have very quality clientele. You can contact them and hopefully they can come out and take care of you. Now, respectfully, of course, I told my friends that, my detailing friends, of what just happened, and if they expect a call from, if they get a call from him, feel free to take it, no issue. Just beware, this is what happened. If you take him as a client, I am in no offense, that does not offend me at all. It just didn't work out for him and I, but if it does work out for you, great, but here's the situation. I probably shouldn't have done that now that I think about it. It was probably better off that I didn't send friends information, especially because he did end up calling them, but that'll be at the end of the video that I'll mention that, which I'll try to cut it shorter. So the profanity keeps on coming at me and I keep on responding with, I am so sorry, I'm not able to care and take care of it. I would love to make it up somehow, whatever I can do, I just can't take care of you this week. Profanity keeps on coming at me. He goes, I'm going to leave you bad reviews, do this, and he's putting all the threats out there in the world. To which I say, I am so sorry, I cannot take you in this week, but if you would be allowing for next week, I can schedule you first thing Monday morning. So basically the conversation ended there. The next day, I'm on the way to go pick up my vehicle, the one that I didn't have, the one which was the reason why I had to push back my clients in the first place. And he sends me a screenshot of him semi-bashing my company. It wasn't the worst review in the world, but he screenshotted my website, I think my website, my logo, something with my Instagram handle on it. And he started to say, I've used this company for this amount, for this time. And he would always come out and we would talk about God. He claimed to be a Christian, but I guess he just doesn't care about his clientele. When he didn't have a generator, who let him still come out and work, and which he did. Then he proceeded to lie on this and said that every time he would come out, I would always tip him $100, sometimes even 150, which he only did that one time, and that was because I went out to his house at 9 o'clock one night to take care of his vehicle and was there till about midnight because he had to sell his vehicle and it needed to be spotless. So I took care of him, and I did appreciate that. But to this day, he actually still owes me $50. So, so there is that. So he proceeded to lie. I might cut that out. I don't know if I should say that or not, but he proceeded to lie about that. He would always pay me this much more, which was never the case. But he's trying to make himself look better on Instagram. And so he's saying all that. he's horrible, this and that. He didn't say he was horrible. He said, I guess he just doesn't care about his VIP clientele. It was extremely passive aggressive. And he screenshotted it, sent it to me, and says, this is the review I left. It's not that bad of a review in my opinion, and just left it at that. I didn't respond. So I thought it was done. I thought the situation would be over, life would move on, and all of that. The following week, he starts contacting my detailing friends that I gave him the contact information for. And they told me about this. And so I'm not going to say the names. I do want to keep it completely anonymous, except for maybe my case. I don't know. He starts messaging one of the two detailers is asking for, I don't know, ceramic coating, something. I don't know what it was. He was asking for something. And my friend was working, specifically he was working on a professional basketball player's car. So, this is like the high-end clientele we're talking about here. And he just wasn't able to get back. And so my ex-client is now like bashing him, saying all this, oh, you don't care, and just getting really, really upset, like what he was with me. And then, so my friend, my detailing friend, he goes, no, so sorry about that. Let's talk. Let me call you soon. And then he remembered the conversation that he had with me and realized, wait a second. I think this is a red flag here. And so they didn't talk anymore after that, to which I think that my ex-client even left him a bad review on Yelp just because he didn't comply. And so then the following week, he contacts my other detailing friend and starts to try to schedule something. Well, my detailing friend, the second guy, has a rule where there must be a 72-hour in advance notice to book clientele. Completely understandable. Unless he had that availability, but he usually doesn't. That's why he demands a 72-hour. He says, well, I demand a 72-hour and my fee started at $150. So the guy said, no worries, I'll get it taken care of this week. Next week, I'll contact you when I'm ready. Okay, that's fine. No worries, And my friend was going to take care of him, knowing the situation. He was going to do it, and it was completely fine. I had no problem with that. He had no problem with that. And so the next week goes by, and the client, my ex-client, is contacting my buddy again, and he says, hey, can you come out today for a wash? And my buddy's like, no, as I told you last week, I need a 72-hour notice because due to demand. And then he was just so upset. My ex-client started to let him have it, using a lot of racial slurs and saying a lot of things about him and his company, and you need to go back to where you came from. And one of those deals. It was one of those deals. And so how I knew that this was happening, my buddy contacted me saying, so this is what's happening right now, and sent me the screenshots. To that, it went from there to, I got a call, 3 direct calls in a row from a number I wasn't able to answer at the moment, but I got 3 direct calls in a row. And I noticed that they were subsequently right after that conversation he had with my friend. And so I realized that that's probably just a number I don't need to contact. I didn't recognize the number, but 3 calls directly in the row right after that, that's a little sus. I'm suspect of that. And so that was a crazy situation. So about 2-3 weeks later go by. I'm getting messages from his significant other, who she is saying, why? I thought you guys were friends, this and that. Don't you know that people just need help? People need there on their side. I don't know what it is, but you two need to squash this beef and this and that. And she sent me a long deal, to which I responded to her message very, very in-depth. For every stance that I had support as to why I felt the way I did. And I mentioned I am not wanting this to be a beef. If my ex-client, if he wants to talk to me, he knows where to find me. He knows where I'm at every single Sunday morning, every Sunday night, every Wednesday night, come out there. Let's talk in person. Let's go ahead and let's settle this, but let's do it over there on those terms, because that's what you wanted help with in the first place anyway. And so she never responded to that. And they would start messaging me because he was starting to hook up his car, get it wrapped. He just got a new car. He's going to get it wrapped and all this stuff. And they would send me screenshots and everything of what they were doing and all that. And so I didn't respond to it. I had no reason to respond to it. They were just trying to play the game, making me jealous and making me try to feel bad, to which I was like, no, I'm fine. I'm busy. I'm good to go. I don't respond to threats or persuasion like that. I don't respond to bribery. And where it went from there is I got, it was like a week after that, the cars were finished with whatever they were doing to the cars. And it was his significant other, his girlfriend, who sent me one more picture of everything that they did, both of their brand new cars, and both of the work that they did to them, and said, this is the last time we are contacting you. We're done with you. Here you go. Good luck in life. Whatever. Bye. Something like that. It was basically a goodbye. We're moving on without you. We don't need you in our life. To my response, in my mind, I didn't respond, of course, but I'm like, okay, whatever. So a couple weeks goes by, as always, and my ex-client is now texting me saying, hey man, look, I can't find a detailer as good as you. You are the best detailer I know. Look, we don't have to talk. We don't have to communicate. We don't have to say anything together. Can you just come over, do my car, I'll pay you over Cash App or whatever, and then you just leave? Well, I already know that that's going to be a bad scenario, a bad situation, as well as I already mentioned the grounds in which I am willing to communicate on. And he was not willing for that. So that was the last I've heard of them. That's the last I ever... the last I spoke to him was before that. One thing I didn't mention is when he left that review on Instagram, I had received messages in my Instagram business inbox, because of course he tagged my company. And I received messages, and they were from friends of his that were saying, hey, why'd you do my boy like that? Why'd you do that to him? That's messed up, man. And like, now I'm getting all this flack when they don't understand the whole situation here. So that was a horror story, guys. I'm sorry, this is like 30 minutes long over here. But I figured it would be cool to talk about that. I've been wanting to talk about that on my channel forever. Oh man, it's so crazy. And of course there's other things that have happened in my business as well, but as far as horror stories, like stuff you can make like a sitcom drama out of, that right there was one. So to recap here, or to sum everything up, what have I learned to possibly prevent that from happening again in the future? One, even if you are in ministry, if you are involved with nonprofits, churches, or something like that, where your job or where your maybe calling, we'll use that word, your calling is to help aid people. When you're dealing with business, I'm not saying keep your business separate from your calling or stuff like that, but make sure you vet very carefully how you handle people, because you don't need to bring everybody, or I'll say it like this, not everybody needs to be close to your inner circle. Some people are there in your life for specific reasons. Some are there for other reasons. Some are meant to be long-term friendships, and some are also meant just to be quick deals, quick situations, whatever. And so I've learned that I'm still going to be open and talk about ministry to my clients. I don't preach at them, but people ask, how was your weekend? Oh, it was great. I was at the church. I was doing that. Which, if you'd like to know more about what I do, I would love to talk about that, what I believe, where I stand. I would love to talk about that. That's a passion of mine. And I've been very, very involved in that area of my life for quite some years now. And so a lot of stories I could talk about as well, some amazing stories. So I got a glare on the screen. It's so aggravating. But yeah, so, just because they're a client doesn't mean they have to be your best friend. I've got clients where I see on a very, very, frequent basis, but we're not close. We have a business relationship, and it's okay. I have a client that I see often that she's 91 years old. She was an old Broadway dancer, singer, actress, whatever, and I'm involved in her life with more than just detailing her car. And now I'm also there for help if she needs someone to talk to. My wife is there for her, and we're there for people, but you have to be able to vet appropriately the people that you feel comfortable with being close with. And so, I'm not saying that I shun people away. What I'm saying is that you have to be able to choose your circle wisely. And that's what I've learned. Just because they're your client doesn't mean that they're going to be your best friend. And come to find out, the people that don't need to be your best friends, when you try to bring them on the inner circle, it may not work out well, and that could hurt both you and the client. And that, just the objective is to protect you, your integrity, protect the client, protect your family, their family. You have to be able to serve people, but sometimes serving them is keeping a distance. And so we're at half an hour here. I've just been yapping in the phone on the way up to Orlando right now. But I wanted to talk about that. Guys, if you like this, if you made it through this whole video, good Lord, slam that like button. That's awesome. I am so proud of you for making it throughout the whole video. Man, I just feel so good finally opening up and expressing it. And there's so many more details that were in that story. But that's just, I guess, to sum it up in 30 minutes. I don't know. But yeah, slam that like button. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment below. Send me an email. I always have my email address in the description box. And guys, I'm here for you. If you have any suggestions, questions, comments, anything you would like to see, any way that I can add more beneficial information to the channel, feel free to let me know. I'm on the way to Orlando. The kids have their last competition of marching season. Wish them luck. Olympic Heights High School. They just came from a competition right now where my drumline, my percussion group got a superior, which is the highest grade you can get in FBA. I'm proud of these kids. They're moving forward. We're all moving forward. Mr. Ladd here signing out. Take it easy.